Hello friends, welcome to another Rush Royale video. A loaf of bread? Yeah, I'm not losing it. It's for our friend and clan member Oates. He's the one who came up with the deck we are going to talk about. And this deck is pretty nuts. You must think like, nah, he's messing with us, this deck is bullshit. Well guys, just watch it, give me a minute to explain and you will see this deck is not a clickbait and Oates was not crazy for coming up with it, but let's see what this deck is all about. Before we get into the details, let's give you a little bit of a backstory behind the deck. So Oates, our clan member, you know our clan TT, the Troopers, he's one of the members there, one of the guys who often comes up with some crazy ideas. And today it's his turn. He's been showing off this deck for like 2 weeks or so, and I really did my best to ignore him. I'm like, dude, this is never gonna work, and he just kept going on about it. I saw him posting screenshots and I'm like, nah, this is impossible. Today I was so bored playing Inquisitor and I wanted to try something, so I gave it a shot. And dude, you're going to be amazed. It looks completely weird, it plays completely weird. I can't explain why it works, but it works like so crazy good. And the best part, it's kind of beginner friendly because you don't need Harlequin, you don't need Summoner, so it's pretty nuts in that aspect. And yeah, let's move on and see what this deck is all about. Okay, let's start at the beginning. We're using Crystalmancer as our DPS unit basically. We use Chemist to enhance the DPS. We use Frost and Bombardier for ultimate control. We have the stuns, we have the slows, which are key for this deck. And last but not least, also very important, we will be using Vampire to give ourselves some big mana boosts because we need to upgrade all our cards, and yeah, we're gonna need the mana. As hero, the preferred choice is Snowflake. That might be the harder thing for some players because you want his skill. It's just about the skill. If you the first and the second wave, you want to be able to kill the wave if you're not getting enough damage early on in the game. I have been getting reports that Jay is also doing a great job, so if you don't have Snowflake, you can also try Jay. That's your best second bet. When we start playing, it's important to get some vampires in the beginning, early on. So you want at least 3 tier 1 vampires, or maybe a tier 2 and a tier 1. You just want to get optimum, maximum mana value from your vampires as early on as possible, because that's really important, and you want to maximize your vampire as quickly as possible. You want mana, mana, mana. The mana has to be flowing in. That's really important. Once you get that, it's also important to basically get like 2, preferably 3 tier 1, tier 2 bombardiers to slow things down, and at least 1 frost. So you want to be slowing things down because early on you won't have a lot of damage, and you want to slow things down as much as possible for you to be able to build all your damage. If you're going to get in trouble, that's where the Snowflake skill comes in, or maybe the J skill if you want to use him. I haven't tested it with Trainer, I haven't gotten any feedback about Trainer, so you could try, but I'm not sure about that. But very important, get your mana early on and make sure you can build some damage and slow everything down so you can control it with Snowflake, or if you're lucky and you can get some early on tier 2 or even maybe a tier 3 Crystalmancer, that would be ideal. In terms of units, how many units you need and what kind, that kind of depends. I would say it depends on how strong you are, your crit and your card levels. So if you're a bit weaker, you're probably going to need a bit more Crystalmancers on the board to maximize your damage. As far as Bombardier and Frost goes, like 1 Frost, maybe 2, depending on what tier he is. And like I would say like 2 Bombardiers, tier 3 at least, that would be ideal. So it's something about that. So to sum it up, if you're lower in damage, you need more or higher tier Crystal Mancers for the damage especially. And that's basically it. Maybe another point to mention is like your tier levels. As you can see in the two games I'm showing you, I'm not going very far or very high in tier levels of each unit. You can see one tier 3 unit for Crystal Mancer right there. So basically the units are like tier 1, tier 2 and another one out tier 3. In the other game I had a tier 4. That's very rare. But you know, you don't even need crazy high tier units. Look at the opponent, he's having his tier 2, tier 3 Inquisitors, and yeah, it's going just fine. So you just need to slow things down. You will be getting higher level bosses, but you don't care, but you will be taking them down. You do kinda, the later it gets in the game, you have to be kind of careful for especially Gorgon and Puppeteer. Those two can really mess you up, but you know, normally you should be fine and your opponent should be also getting high level bosses and getting more into trouble with them. So that's basically it about the bosses and the tiers of your cards. Okay, well, if you still don't believe me, you have to try it to see it for yourself. I couldn't believe it. I played like 10 games with it now and I won all 10 of them. And you know, it's really weird. It feels weird, but it's also really fun because it's completely different than what we're used to the last, I don't know, 2-3 months. It's been Inquisitor basically with some engineer left and right, but you know, boring old, same old, and this one is completely different. So I don't know, let's see how it goes in the future. Please do leave me a like, leave me a comment if you have any questions or comments about this deck. I would really appreciate your subscribes on my channel. That will help me out a lot. I have to give Oats a shout out, the crazy bread guy, for coming up with this deck and for being persistent and making sure I didn't forget about it or kept ignoring it for that matter. So that's basically it. You can see the rest of this match, but I will be staying quiet for now and I hope to see you all very soon on the battlefield.